Well, we're back with Free Agent Fridays, and today I've got Tyler Hotz with me. Tyler, if you could let us know where you're from, where you went to school, a little bit of information about yourself.
Of course, yeah. Well, thanks, Andrew, for having me. I really appreciate it. It's really nice of you to do this for so many people who, are coming out of college and looking to take their next step, or they might be in between jobs. So, a little bit more about me. I am a 2020 graduate from Appalachian State University. I graduated with degrees in public relations and journalism, and I'm originally from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay, nice. What is kind of your ideal career, job that you're looking for coming out of school?
Oh, yeah. So, thing I'm looking for out of school is, something to do in college athletics, preferably. So, I've been looking
Okay,
at, positions, whether it's in, um, you know, G5 or Power Five, preferably Division One at college athletics for communications. I also have had some experience getting to work with conferences as well on a volunteer basis. So, I've also been interested in that. So, coming out of college, I'm looking at, a year-long internship or possibly trying to do like a graduate assistant program because I really enjoy school. That might not be the same for everybody, but I really liked class and school, and I still in the back of my mind would love to be the first person out of the four of my family to get a doctorate degree, possibly. So
nice.
I have possible hopes to continue to, maybe use that master's degree and to one day possibly get a degree for, a doctoral program. So,
So, how was it since you just graduated with COVID and everything? I mean, was there any kind of recognition, or what you guys do?
so at App State, they did a virtual graduation. So they made sure to list off everybody's names and they pre-recorded it. And they did a really good job with it. They had one person read every single graduate's names,
Wow,
every single one. Yes, and App State is actually a little bigger than people would expect. It's almost 20,000 students now. So
really? Wow,
yeah, so it's
that's up in the mountains, isn't it?
correct. Yes. So
Nice, nice and
I was
cold.
yeah, it is really nice and cold. It's really nice right now. It's like, 70 degrees and like a light breeze every day. But
Nice.
yeah, they did a great job with it. What they want to do is if things go well and they're allowed to like have graduation ceremonies in the winter, they want to invite back all spring 2020 graduates to like a special ceremony in December. So
Oh, nice.
depending
That'll
on
be
where
cool.
I'm, yeah, depending on where I'm at and how much time I have, I'd love to participate in that.
So, with your search now, are you open to anywhere throughout the country? Are you looking for a specific geographical area?
Honestly, I'm open to pretty much anywhere in the country. A few months ago, I would have probably said a little bit more limited to,
Right.
I have a lot of family in the Midwest, and,
Okay.
that's the area that's always been attractive to me. And I also have a lot of family down in the Southeast. So I was mostly looking in those two areas, but
Okay.
now I'm pretty much open to going anywhere. If a place suits me and, there's not as many places hiring, of course, and I like the people who work there, I would go anywhere. So,
So, obviously, like communications PR, what kind of um, areas, would you focus on as far as there like, I'm sure depending on the level, is the difference, the Power Five, there probably is a bigger PR and communications team than, a D3 school or, even two or 1A.
yeah. So, when I was at App, I worked with our student newspaper for a year and a half. So that was a fun side to see the other side of like what it's like. And it helped me because, when I was a sophomore, I decided that, maybe I kind of want to change and I want to see what, like what it's like working for an athletic department. And now I fell in love with it. I knew that's just like what I wanted to do. So getting to work at like, a good football school, even if it's, at the group of five level, was really helpful for me because we got national interest, especially this year with wins against South Carolina and North Carolina, maybe more so than some other group of five schools would. But, I've also had two summer internships at Tennessee because, being home and over the summer in Knoxville, was able to make some good connections there. So it was interesting getting to compare and contrast like how much media attention is on like a SEC powerhouse program.
Right.
And App State's been great at football the last few years, but it's just
A
not
different
the same.
level. Yeah.
It's a different level, and your roles in the athletic communications office are a little bit different because at Tennessee you have more staff, but you also have a lot more media responsibility for sports like men's basketball, women's basketball with the legacy of Pat Summitt, and then obviously football as well.
So what kind of stuff did you work on at University of Tennessee then?
I did a lot of writing because of my writing background.
Press releases, or was it more stories?
It was more of feature story work. I worked
Okay.
over the summer, and there was not as much press release material going around during
Right.
then. I did some baseball updates. I helped out the baseball contact at the time do that. I also got to write a few feature stories for women's basketball, men's basketball, and football as well. I also got to participate in a SEC football media day when I was
Nice.
in Tennessee. So that was a cool experience to kind of show like what the top of this industry can look like, and it's been something to aspire to.
Give you a good taste at least.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff were you working on in Appalachian State?
So I was our primary SID, or sports information contact, for field hockey for 2 years. I came into knowing nothing about field hockey growing up in Tennessee, but I quickly learned the sport, and I love working with the players and the coaching staff. And to kind of I had help, but to also kind of be in charge of a whole sport as an undergraduate student for 2 years was something that I think really helped me, and hopefully it will give me a leg up on maybe some other people. And then right before COVID happened, I was also promoted to work with our baseball team as the primary sports information contact in January. So got to work with them for 4 months. We got in, I think, 17 games. So I got some season experience at least as well. So that's just something else to say that, I could work with two sports, writing all the press material for them, press releases, doing all the nominations for them, working on, designing, and design materials such as, like record books and stuff like that. So
I was going to ask, because I saw you had some creative stuff on your resume: Photoshop, InDesign, Premiere Pro. I mean, is that, like on the basic level, like to do that kind of stuff? Or, I mean, are you full on graphic design abilities?
My writing capability and my media relations work is definitely, superior to the creative work.
Okay.
I'm proficient in all three of those programs. Mostly because of my classes, I'm proficient in Premiere Pro, and
Okay.
I got good experience, and my professors were really helpful. And then we hired somebody this past summer to do more of our graphics for us. So I'm very good at, editing templates, and I can, make slight changes, and I come up with, ideas for how to like incorporate it, but putting it together is, something I'm trying to get better at.
Enough to be dangerous right now.
Yeah.
Kind of like me. That's how I look at it.
Exactly. And then, InDesign is something I enjoy doing more than Photoshop, actually, which some people, vehemently disagree, but layout is something that, I actually like doing a little bit more. It's more of, writing based, and it's more of like, closer attention to detail instead of more of like creative work. So,
yeah. And then I saw you have experience with Stat Crew, some stat programs, WordPress, and Sidearm. I haven't worked with Sidearm, but I'm taking that's a content management system for websites.
Yeah, it's colleges. It's a CMS system that's, kind of dominating, college athletics. I mean, most websites that you go on nowadays have a similar look to them. And that's because like Sidearm is the provider. It's a really easy back-end thing to use, but luckily, instead of just knowing that it exists, like I have 2 years of using it, and I can do different things with it. So, yeah.
It's always good to have a variety of those skills, because you never know what you're going to have to do in a pinch too, especially with PR and communications. So what is we talked about a little bit about like your goal for the next job, but like what's kind of like the dream job, that you want to get to?
That's, in the conference type of route, which is something that I'm really considering, would love to break into one day. It would be working at like the Big Ten or the ACC. I'm a huge college basketball fan. I
Okay.
went to a college football school and I grew up in a college football environment in Knoxville, but college hoops has always been something I really enjoy. So being at the top of the level as you can be for college hoops would definitely be something I would strive toward. And I've been lucky to work a few ACC events, and I like the people that were working there at the time, and pretty much everybody is still there that I got to work with, and I just know they hire great people, and it seems like an organization that I would like to work for one day. So,
Who's your basketball team then?
who's my basketball team then?
Yeah.
So my grandfather went to Virginia, and then my
Okay.
father grew up liking NC State. So we have a lot of ACC teams that like, I don't have a favorite one, but the Big Ten connection is because I have a lot of family in Ohio, so I grew up liking
Okay.
Ohio State a little bit. So
Nice.
I would say App State first because I'm loyal to my
Alma
mom
mater.
and dad,
Yeah.
but I also like Ohio State sports as well. I followed them with my uncle. So
Not a bad program. Not a bad program.
yeah.
So what's your biggest, what are your biggest skills that you would bring, to your next school?
Yeah, my biggest skill is probably my writing capability and the flexibility that I can, I'm not just a good grammatical writer. I'm not just going to get AP style stuff right, which is my passion. Like I love, I love grammar. I love AP style. I've been writing with it since I was, a junior in high school. I got to work on our student paper, so I'm very comfortable with it. But I also like write some of the feature stories, and when you're busy with, school and working with, one or two sports that you're in charge of, you don't have as much time to do that feature writing content, but it doesn't mean that I still don't enjoy it and can do well with it. That and, just maintaining, the relationship side of it. I love talking to, I know I worked in a, college newspaper environment for a year and a half, and I like talking to media members. I like networking. Since this started, I've talked to over 12 people in this field or related
Nice.
fields just to see what they do, to check in, to like get advice. So maintaining, the human relationship part too is something that I like to strive to do.
Yeah, no, that's important. How about, nobody likes to talk about their weaknesses, but where do you see your weakness and where you need to improve?
Like we talked about earlier, the creative side of some of those, creative programs such as InDesign and Photoshop, I'm very proficient in them. I know like more than the basics, and I could provide something that's solid, but is it going to blow you away? Probably not. I think that's something that I'm a well-rounded candidate for wherever I go to. But if I have to point to one thing that I could like, see a step up, it's in the creative side. So if you give me a template,
Yeah.
or you give me a few things, or you tell me you want to fix different things and something that's a little bit off, I can easily do it. But creating something from scratch is something that,
It's a
yeah,
niche. I mean, it
yeah,
definitely, it's a different skill set. So, I
right,
mean, I think the basics are what's most important for what you're trying to do. So, but yeah, as you improve that, it's just going to make you bigger, bigger asset. So why sports? Why do you want to be in the sports business?
Well, it's interesting. When I was younger, I played some sports, but my brother is like a diehard sports fan, and he was like a grinder playing high school baseball, and my dad was super into watching him play. And, for the longest time, I wasn't as interested in sports. I like had somewhat of a musical background, and I had other interests, but when I got older, I was like, I like the analytical side of sports. I like the stories in sports. I like the crossovers of like cultural, phenomena that happen in sports. There was a lot of things in just the games that I enjoyed. So when I started writing, for our high school newspaper, sports was the thing I knew most about. And when I got to college, I was like, I like being a part of a team environment, and I like following that dynamic. So it's more of the relationship building. And then of course it's also nice to, grow up with my brother and my dad, who are also big sports fans. So that is also part of it as well.
Yeah, no, it's good to follow, stuff you're passionate about, and being able to marry the two together is cool. That's I always tell everybody, like, do what you enjoy and everything else will kind of fall in line. If you chase the money or you chase this or that, but do what you love and you'll never feel like you're working.
Perfect.
And that's how I feel after 20 years in the business. I feel like I've never had a job, just having fun. So,
Yeah.
how would you define success?
You know, that's tough. I'm only 22 years old. I'm still pretty young, and it's like I think I'm going to change how I define success now than I do
Definitely.
10 years from now.
Yep.
For me now, it's just finding a place that I can either further the skills that I need to be successful in the industry that I want to be in, or to, further my education. And if I can do both, then I would love to do both. That's why the, grad assistantship route, or even working at a school and maybe taking classes eventually, is like kind of something that I want to do, is because sports and, working is important to me, but also being a well-rounded person is how I define success as well.
What kind of differentiates you? What will make you stand out amongst the crowd for a position?
I hope that it's a combination of a few things. I think the writing capability is one. I turn in everything, or I post stuff on a website, and I really don't think you need to look at it to see if there's any errors in there. And then one of the other things is also being able to communicate well inside a department. That was something that I, just completely did not realize when I started as a student worker, how much internal communication affects external communication. That's something that I've had experience with, and, I think I do really well. And I can get along with coworkers and work with different style people, and like try to meet their strengths and match them with mine. And then, I'm just hungry to learn, and I like to, I really enjoy learning about a new culture at a school or organization. I like to research and just stay up to date with what's going on.
Yeah, and a lot of these, I mean, especially the schools that you're kind of talking about, there is so much history there,
Yeah.
with their programs, and it just it's a lot to learn. It's going to be a lot to pick up, but it's going to be cool because you just see these different traditions at different schools, and it's great to see.
And every school has a history. It's not
Oh,
not just the one I listed. I like anywhere I go, I love to learn. Any
yeah.
job I apply for, I like to do some research. And if I'm lucky enough to get an interview, I want to show that, hey, I'm going to be the most prepared candidate. Maybe not be the candidate that gets selected, but I want to come off as the most prepared one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. You gotta put yourself in the best possible position. So the more information that anything that you could tie in, definitely helps. All right, so we kind of got a little bit of background on your school and career. How about like some cool, fun stuff about you? Like,
okay.
give us something that people can get to know Tyler.
I guess I'll do two things. One, a fact, and the two, an ability, I guess.
Okay.
So one is, I was actually born on Super Bowl 32 when the Broncos beat the Packers. I was actually born on January 25th, 1998. So maybe my sports background was kind of like foretold that I would be interested in sports. So I try to that's always a fun fact that I mix into any, two truths and a lie game.
Right.
And then in high school, I learned how to juggle, so I can juggle. So
how good? I mean,
I can do three ball. I used to be able to do rings, but I can't do rings.
No swords or anything?
No, I can do like three ball. I can rotate with two ball in one hand, and so I'm okay, but I can juggle, so I'm pretty proud of it. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have there you could juggle? Next time. Put you
right
on the
here.
spot. I want to see. No.
Nothing right here. So.
No, but no, that sounds good. I appreciate you joining me. Anything else that you want to share before we wrap up?
I just, for anybody who's listening, or, if it's another student or it's another person who, might be going through a tough time transitioning to another job, just, there's a lot of people out there who are going through this right now. And, there's no right way to do this. There's a lot of ways that you can be proactive, but also try to take care of yourself as well. And something I guess maybe I challenge any of you who listen is to try to reach out to a few people per week and, try to chat with them and learn more about them. the value of connections is so
It's
important,
huge in this
and
business,
it can
especially.
it can really make a difference. It can help you get to that interview rounds. It really can. I've seen it firsthand a few times already. So, just try to challenge you to do that, but obviously on your own timetable, that's good for you. So.